Morning, all. All right, so one game in the NHL tonight, of course. It is the start of the Western Conference Final. So last night we had the epic game between Florida and Carolina. We'll see how things go tonight. I do think that having big epic games like that will generate a lot more interest. Like last night's recap video, if that had been a regulation win, I don't think I would have seen maybe half of the views that we've seen on that recap. But when it's an epic game like that, you know it's going to generate some interest, and maybe it'll generate interest beyond these games as well. Or at least for that series beyond that game. And if this one ends up going to some kind of crazy overtime, maybe it generates interest in this series as well. Although there should be interest in this series anyways. Pete DeBoer against the team that he coached against was San Jose, and the team he coached as well with Vegas. He knows the Golden Knights. The Golden Knights know him as well. So Ottinger will be the starter for Dallas. Ottinger's had ups and downs, but he was good enough. They got past Seattle with him in net. On the other side, Aiden Hill, I would think is the starter, right? I say I would think because with Vegas, you just never know. Could be anybody. If it was Patera, I'd be like, all right, yep, no, that makes sense. If it's Quick, sure, why not? But at any rate, Vegas, one step away from going back to the Stanley Cup final. Dallas, one step away from going back to the Stanley Cup final. Vegas was there in 2018, where they lost against the Washington Capitals. Dallas was there in 2020, where they lost against the Tampa Bay Lightning. So one of these teams is going back to the Stanley Cup final. We'll get an idea of which one that could be starting tonight. So yesterday, I have to say the Arizona Coyotes, understanding the amount of attention they're getting right now, whoever's running their Twitter account is doing their best to make sure that they stay noteworthy. And so there was a poll about where the team should be moved that somebody else had posted. It was posted on another page, and so they retweeted that. But on their own Twitter account, they put up a poll on where their fans think they should go. And they were all Arizona locations as an option. So, of course, you can guess how those replies went. Yes, there were a lot of Nordiques replies. Yes, there were a lot of replies regarding Houston, regarding Atlanta, regarding Milwaukee, regarding Salt Lake City. You name it. So at this point, I just have to assume that the Arizona Coyotes, their social media is basically trolling at this point. And to that, I say kudos. I mean, what else are they going to do right now? Like, in all honesty, they could just not post anything. Sure, that's one option, but why not just lean into it? Because at this point, I don't think that we have any idea on how this is all going to be resolved. And so, yeah, why not just embrace the chaos if you're the Arizona Coyotes? In fact, maybe that should be the team's motto going into this season. So if they use it, you're welcome. But yeah, so for the Coyotes, we don't have anything else new to report other than they're a pretty good follow right now on social media. So I feel kind of for Toronto fans right now, and I wanted to address this in a video. A lot of blockbuster trades being made by armchair GMs. The media speculating on who may go and who may stay in Toronto. At this point, it's not. That shouldn't be the prime focus. The prime focus should be the fact that Kyle Dubas hasn't publicly committed to sticking around. He is still making up his mind. There is some discussion as well about how long can the Leafs wait for him to make up his mind, but he hasn't decided. And I've seen the posts people have left on the page here, the channel here, about Dubas is just messing around and he's not actually thinking about leaving. And well, why make that up? Like if he wanted a new contract, he would have negotiated one. He didn't want one. He was very clear. He wanted to wait until after the playoffs were done. And so yeah, if this was about money or getting a brand new contract, he would have got it done during the year. So I do think there's more to it than that. And until we know what's going on at the GM position, any and all speculation regarding trades is just it's pie in the sky. Um, One I saw yesterday was trade Marner to Vancouver for Pedersen. Oh, that one just made my head hurt. That was just like, yeah, because the Canucks need another winger and they need to trade out their number one center to make it happen. Sure, you might as well. That makes a lot of sense. Sure, yep. Anyways, so we'll see what's going on. But again, the speculation right now is ridiculous. It likely will continue probably until July 1st. And then once all the salary cap money's been spent for next year, it'll be good. The one thing is, until Matthews signs an extension, there will be those rumors that he's going to want to go somewhere else. The thing I find funny with that is that, coming back to the Coyotes for a second, I saw, well, at least now they don't have to worry about him leaving for Arizona. Right, now you just have to worry about him leaving for everywhere else that would have cap space in 2024, which a lot of teams do, and Matthews would be an immediate upgrade to most offenses in the NHL. So, yeah, anyways, it's going to be a ridiculous 12 months, I think, once we get to June and beyond. But yeah, we'll see how that all goes. The New York Rangers, in their attempt to find themselves a coach, and they shot down the Quenneville rumor. The one thing with that is Gary Bettman apparently will meet with Joel Quenneville once the playoffs are over to talk about, being able to come back and coach in the NHL. But the Rangers did get permission to interview Spencer Carberry, who is an assistant coach with the Toronto Maple Leafs. So he may very well end up getting hired. I am a big fan of bringing on assistant coaches as head coaches, bringing up your AHL coach as a head coach, and just thinking outside the box and not recycling old coaches from elsewhere. Because that doesn't really, I don't see how that works all that well. And yet we go up here, and what do we have? DeBoer against Cassidy, two recycled coaches. In the other conference, you've got Maurice, who's been through a few teams. Brindamore, though, just the one job in Carolina. So, yeah, speaking of Carolina, accidental segue, but I'll take it. So Carolina has a problem in the conference final. They get swept in 2009, they get swept in 2019, and now they're down 1-0 against the Florida Panthers. And this is that interesting storyline of the playoffs that kind of comes out of nowhere. It's because if they lose game 2, let's say tomorrow night they lose game 2, we're going to be having a discussion about the fact that they have lost 10 straight in conference finals, and I guarantee that the media will be all over it at that point. So, yeah, for Carolina, they need to win game 2. Obviously, you don't want to go to Florida down 2-0. Conference finals, your game 1 is more important than it is during the first and second round. At least the number they showed last night for if you win the first game, your winning percentages, and it's a really high winning percentage, which is completely different than the first round. I'm pretty sure that's different than the second round as well. So yeah, Carolina needs to tie that series and gain themselves some momentum. Now, on the Florida side of things, coming out of last night, Matthew Tkachuk puts his name not in the record books, but not that far off. The OT winner ended the 6th longest game in NHL history, and yes, the one game that's taken place since this channel came about was the Tampa Bay Columbus game, which went to 5 overtimes. So this game wasn't far off of that one. It was close. It may have felt longer. I think that was an afternoon game, the game between Tampa Bay and Columbus. It turned into an evening game, but I think it was an afternoon game. It doesn't feel like it was that late when it was done. And again, we'll see, coming out of these playoffs, does ESPN look at the scheduling differently for next year, or do they keep doing it this way? But yeah, so let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. How many overtimes do we see tonight? Do we see overtime tonight? And of course, let me know who you think wins this game too between Vegas and Dallas. Should be a fun one. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.